All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rakakadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, whom taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect brothers across the four corners who are enduring in both truth and in sincerity, all the men and women who follow. This is Brother Christ out from the fountain of living waters, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai. This lesson being entitled, Why Trump Took Venezuela and Pushed Towards the Third World. All right, and Lord's Word is an edifying video. It's a lot going on in the news right now, and I got some videos on Instagram we're gonna check out, and a short clip of a video that I got from Al Jazeera. But overall, Lord's Word is edifying. So let's just get into it. So we know there's a lot going on right now with Trump taking Venezuela, and even since then, it's been a lot of stuff. So before we actually get into this, let's watch a couple of these videos, because what they're trying to say is that Venezuelans are celebrating and they're happy that Maduro went down, but the videos that they're showing aren't accurate to what's really going on. This is what's really going on in the streets. These people are pissed. These people are pissed. You know, you can't just go to someone's country, take their leader, in the dead of night. It's kidnapping. Imagine if someone came in and stole Trump, just took President Trump. It'd be a whole war started behind this. But because the hubris and the ego of the American is so high, that's why Esau pins himself as the eagle, as the Romans, as the Americans, because the bird flies higher than any other bird, and they're so high-minded, they're more high-minded than anyone else on the planet. All right, that they think that they can just go and kidnap what you call a dictator and to do what you want. But man, these people, they're outraged. They're a hold on to their rights. So let's get the scripture real quick, because the Bible speaks about this. This is 2 Ezra 9, and I'll start at verse 1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right? So, and to that fact, we can go back to Habakkuk 2, right? And 2, where it says, and the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may runneth that readeth it. Now, these visions that are made plain upon tables are these same signs that were told in the past. All right? And the scriptures say that the scriptures were meant for our learning, right? The scriptures that were written aforetime were meant for our learning. So now we should understand that it's the same time that the Lord is going to visit this world. Also, according to Habakkuk, it says, For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and will not tarry. So there's going to be a time a day, in a minute, in an hour, in a second, so on and so forth, that these prophecies are going to pop off. And man, we're getting closer and closer and closer each passing day, right? So where it says, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, right? And why does that have any significance? It says, for like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, the end is manifest. The end is being broadcast right in front of our eyes. It says, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. So the end is going to come in different effects and different signs. And one of those signs is the gathering of a lot of people, right? And of course, we've been seeing this, we've been saying this, but of course, we're going to point it out every time. And that's the job of a watchman, is to watch and to point out what you see. All right, so moving on.
On Twitter, and I see some shit that I got to share with y'all. You ready? Nate Rothschild, one of the Rothschild family, the Rothschild banking clan, is thanking Donald Trump. It says, thank you. Well done, Donald J. Trump. Venezuela Libre. The next comment just post a screenshot that says, Venezuela does not have a Rothschild central bank. The Central Bank of Venezuela.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to hear. All right. Venezuela don't have a central bank. We know that the Rothschilds operate all these central banks. What are central banks? Central banks are national authorities managing the country's money supply and monetary policy. So if you're outside of the central banks or outside of this monetary policy, they don't have no control over you. So if you want to sell your currency in oil, or not peg your currency to the dollar, if you want to trade oil for gold, or do anything else, if you don't got a central bank, you do what you want. But once the Fed or the European Central Bank, those are two examples. But once you come underneath their umbrella, you got to do what they tell you to. All right, and let them tell it. Maduro is this freaking dictator who they're trying to take out. Which, to be honest, he kind of looked like Saddam Hussein to me. Maduro, here we go. Nicolai Maduro. Look at him. Let's see if they got a. They say that they be cloning people. This could be he could be a clone, but that's just speculation. It's just me. This, don't take this as gospel that I said that he's a clone. I'm just pointing out the parallels. Also, they said that Nike paid $20 million to the Trump administration to put Maduro in a Nike tracksuit. So it all goes back to the money. It all goes back to the money. All right, we're gonna get on how they captured this guy as well. But it all leads back to the money. So now you have America controlling their money. You have them controlling their oil, their most important export. And now you also got them controlling the waterways, because they got this blockade so that no one can get in, no one can get out. But you have these Russian ships, these Chinese ships, these different ships. Well, let's grab it. 16 oil tankers from BRICS nations, including Brazil, Russia, China, India, along with Mexico and other countries, are bypassing the U.S. blockade to load Venezuelan oil. And if you think that's nothing, well check out this.
Between Russia and the United States over a Venezuelan oil tanker linked to Russia. So here's what's happening. The United States Navy has been pursuing an oil tanker that departed from Iran and was headed to Venezuela to transport oil. And while the United States was pursuing this oil tanker to take it over, the crew of the oil tanker painted a Russian flag on the hull and reflagged the tanker as a Russian registered tanker. But the United States did not care that it now belongs to Russia and pursued the tanker anyway. So earlier today, Russia announced that they are going to deploy a submarine and other naval vessels to escort the oil tankers. And upon hearing that, the United States sent a helicopter and a special commando team to board the ship before Russian naval forces get there. And so far, it seems like the U.S. has won, as U.S. troops were able to board the ship before Russian Navy was able to get there on time.
So now you can kidnap 30 Russians. This is how wars start. All right. But, the end is not yet. All right. Everybody's just posturing. Everyone's getting set up. That's why, he took Venezuela. Why? Because that oil. They said if you add up every single barrel of oil that's been used, that's not available, just every barrel of oil that has been used in human history all around the world, you add up every single barrel, Venezuela still has more oil. That's crazy to think, but and also gold. They have more gold than every mine that's been mined from South Africa. Like, that's crazy. But the value in the region is why they've been taking control. That's why the U.S. has control, right? And not only that, they have the Panama Canal, right, which we know is a haven for ships. So you can go from the Pacific to the Atlantic through the Panama Canal. You don't have to go all the way down and around South America. You can cut through the Panama Canal. This is a major shipping lane, okay, that everyone uses. Now, the United States has been putting a lot of pressure on Panama to be strict with the canal, all right? And if the U.S. takes over this canal and they decide who comes in and who comes out, it's going to fuck a lot of people up. This is a strategic area for them to, them being the United States, to take over, especially in their own backyard. You have to own your own backyard. It's like defending the home field. Okay? But there's one more video that I wanted to get to. Bear with me here. Which one is it? Just bear with me here. Man. I literally just watched the video. Just bear with me. It might have got taken down. Hold on. Mm. All right, Shalom. Here we go. I found it. So let me.
Were you listening when Donald Trump said this?
Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have.
It sounds like what he's saying is the United States has the capability of turning off the lights for 1.9 million people in a large Latin American country like that. And of course, I wouldn't believe it if there wasn't a video.
Y después van hacia arriba, ¿sí? Si es por parte de su madre o parte... Boludo, se cortó la luz.
What this tells me is Nicolas Maduro was literally in the dark in his fortress. He probably couldn't find his way to the safe room without lights. It's also why he probably wasn't able to close it. He was feeling around, probably looking for the lever to pull it.
Now, of course, that's the obvious, but what you should get from this video, and I can't remember what point I was trying to make. Me looking for the video kind of, wave bye bye to that talking point. But what you should get from this video is that anytime they want to turn the lights out, they can. All right, they went over there, they shut the lights out, they went over there, they got that man. All right, and just took him, kidnapped him. So that's, as far as videos, that's really all I wanted to get for that. Going back to the blockade, everybody's really just setting up for war, and I'll just hammer this point home, and we'll end it. Trump is doing what he needs to do in order to be good for World War III. He just secured a sustainable supply of oil, which everything runs off of oil, for the foreseeable future. This is a big move towards World War III. You have a lot of different what they call damn. I'm sorry. Y'all bear with me. I got some brain fog going on. Arenas, different arenas of war. All right, let's see if I can bring up a world map. Countries at war currently. See if we can. Maybe they got something. All right, that might be one of the best ones. All right. Right, so of course you got the Gaza war, the Ukraine war. This is kind of difficult to see, but of course Africa is always at war somewhere, somehow, some way. India and Pakistan have been at war for a while, and when you go and you search through all of these different conflicts, a lot of times on one side you'll have Russia, and the other side you'll have America, right? And it's just funding two sides to these. It's called a proxy war. Let's get that real quick. A proxy war is a war fought between states that are not themselves officially involved, often one in which one or more of the active parties in the conflict is not a country or a state, right? So during World War II in Vietnam, you had a bunch of different proxy wars, you know, because you had like Vietnam, you had the Viet Cong army who were supported by the Russians, and then you had, you know, the South Vietnamese or sorry, the North Vietnamese who were supported by, you know, I don't know, I mean, it was the South Vietnamese supported by the U.S. and then the North supported by uh, Russia and China. You know, that's going on all over the world right now. But also, before we go, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, you know, Trump is still trying to take Greenland. You know, which they're saying if he tries to take Greenland, then they're not going to have it. All right, that's going to cause something to break up NATO. Matter of fact, let's get that. Um, well, we'll get this since we're here. Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe was past, and the third woe cometh quickly. We're heading straight to that third world war. But the scripture says, how can I quote it? Give me a second. My mind's moving a million miles a minute. Hey, booyah. Obadiah 1 and 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have bought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. So everyone's going to turn their back on America. All their allies, all right, who they've been getting money with, who they've been doing their dirt with, who they've been protecting in these different conflicts or whatnot, they're going to turn their backs. There's going to be a straw that breaks the camel's back moment that everyone's going to separate from America, and America's going to be on the outs with Israel. All right, that's why both those lands, both America and Israel, are going to be completely destroyed. Okay, and other various places around the world, but America is not going to be brought back, and Israel needs to be cleansed. All right, so that's really all I wanted to get with this. You know, Lord's will, you know, you got up to date on some things, some current events that's going on in Venezuela, as well as, you know, around the world. It's a lot going on right now. Keep your eyes on this blockade. Almost forgot about here we go. So, like I said, the third world cometh quickly, man. The third world was coming quickly. I was watching Al Jazeera, and I recorded like 8 minutes of it, and I should get, you know, at least another 2 or 3 videos off of this clip, you know, depending on how I want to do it. But I'm going to play this because it really stuck with me, and it very much applies. All right, that's how you want to do it? All right, 1 second. See if I can get it back to where
Maduro's wife, Syria, civilization, end of the world as we know it.
The increasing incidents, and I think that's one of the resonance now because ecosystem collapse.
Prices, and one of them is
with worsening disasters and a world where we are just in a constant non-stop disaster.
Well, there are different indicators for potential global crisis, and one of them is the doomsday clock. Every year it's getting closer to midnight, quote unquote, the end of the world. But what is the doomsday clock? Let's take a look.
The time that is set on the clock is historically connected to the threat of nuclear war, but in recent years it has also included the threat of climate change. The decision as to what the time is comes from a science and security board, which is made up of 18 experts in areas related to policy and diplomacy, military history, nuclear science, and climate science. Now, they meet twice a year to discuss the state of the world and then consult with many, many, many people from diverse backgrounds before making a decision as to what time it is. The threat assessment is made on a 15-minute scale, so the time will always vary from 1:45 right up to midnight. Honestly, while the whole premise might seem like it's designed to incite fear or come across as terrifying countdown to our demise, it's actually designed to incite change, to encourage you and I to take action, to take the threats of humanity seriously.
Lucy, you were nodding there when she was talking about trying to affect change. The
So,
doomsday.
That doomsday clock, I think they said was what, like 89 minutes to midnight or something like that. Is close. If I can kind of go back to where they had it. Yeah, here we go. So you can see in various different events that happen, the time will get short, but it's never been as close as it is now. Meaning we are closer to nuclear war than ever before. All right. So, brothers, just keep pushing, stay in the spirit, and, the Lord's going to deliver us from this place, man. The Lord's word is edifying. And with that being said, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who taught me this truth. Salutes and honors to the elect brothers across the four corners who are enduring in both truth and in sincerity, all the men and women who follow. Shalom.